we're going to lose this country. And I'm really terrified because there really is no place to go if America falls.
How many of you thought he's still going to win this?
What terrifies me is that what's to come, because we have progress towards evil. I call it evil, insanity, at such a fast pace. I was hoping, Trump was trying to turn it around, and I was hoping he'd be given another 4 years to actually make that, realistic, real, to make it happen. But that's not going to happen. And the threats, about packing the Supreme Court. I mean, the fact that we've had these riots last year for months on end, in very, numerous major cities, and somehow it was condoned. The number one issue for me is liberty, and I see it fading away.
The America that Donald Trump was trying to make great again, do you think that's a memory? Do you think that's all in the history now, that we'll never get that America back? Do you think it's kind of like it's that dream is over and done with?
I hope and believe that we can, and I think God bless America as a two-way street. America needs to bless God if we want to be blessed by Him. And I do have hope, and I don't think that fight is the best word, if that means what it could mean. I think we need to stand for our principles. We need to not be compromised. We need to do what's right. And we need to bring peace and compassion.
At the moment, I have lost my hope.
Me too.
But that doesn't mean I can't get my hope back.
We want to move to a red state. Which is getting fewer and fewer.
I am moving to a red state. I think Minnesota is a lost cause.
Yeah, I do too.
I've lived here my whole life.
Me too.
Minnesota, lost cause.
Yeah. Yep.
Ooh.
I'm moving.
Where do you think you might move? You said you'll move to a red state.
Wisconsin, Wyoming. My husband's a hunter.
Idaho. I'm moving to the mountains in Idaho.
Is that
The
for real?
Panhandle of Idaho. Yep, we're looking at property right
Portland?
now. My parents used to live there.
If I had my choice, I wouldn't live here. But we're here because of his job and stuff.
Since this has all gone down, is there any interest in defecting from the Republican Party? I don't know how connected any of you are. Really, I know some of you said you're Republican. Some of you, I don't know if you all said that, but do you hope for a third party? Are you done with the Republicans? What are your thoughts on that, if in fact you are Republican?
I am, and I don't know that I'm done with them. I'm disappointed in them, and I had to look up what Rhino stood for, and because I'd heard it, I kind of had an idea, and you asked a question a while back about less patriotic, and no, I've always had a flag flying in my house, and I always will, and it's not the flag of Trump or Biden, it's the flag of America.
Yes.
And I stand for this country. I know its history. I love its history. And that is what I think we need what I want my grandchildren to know. My children know it. And how this nation came to be what it is was, there's a thing called Os Guinness wrote about the Golden Triangle, and this country was founded by men of virtue and faith, and those two things equal freedom, and that's who we are. And if we lose the virtue and the faith in this country, we won't have freedom. And I think that's really important. And to know what ideals these men had. They were brilliant men, and some of them were in their 20s.
Yeah.
And it's just an incredible story, and I think it's important that we don't forget.
So my story about the Republican Party is I was not involved in politics until about 9 or 10 years ago when I met Alexandra. And I got involved right away, and I have to tell you, I met more Christians in the Republican Party than I have met anywhere in any people group in my entire life. I think all of us have been has been a little disillusioned by the Republican Party until Donald Trump came along. Donald Trump revitalized the Republican Party, and I think that's why we're all so dependent on Donald Trump, because he did what we want all the other Republicans to do and they're not doing.
What would you tell your children or grandchildren to give them hope or to prepare them?
I keep telling my son, get involved, fight for your liberty, because if it's not defended, it's not going to last forever. That's what, like I said, I was on this roller coaster up and down, because I can't just do nothing, because I want it to remain a great country for the children, for those who come after me. But unfortunately, the way I'm seeing is there's too many people that just don't care.
And if we stay involved, we're fighting against evil. That's the whole bottom line, as far as I'm concerned. We need to be vocal. We need to do what we can do to fight evil. But I tell my grandchildren, no matter what happens, just remember God's in control and keep your faith. That's the bottom line. I agree with her completely.
I'm very disappointed with the Republicans, so I'm not going to be helping out the Republican Party. What I am committed to doing is helping out the candidates, and I don't care if they're Democrat or Republican, as long as they are on the side of truth, goodness, common sense, and good for America, good for American people. The R or the D it's not important to me, but the individual candidate, I'm just going to support and work for candidates that I feel are good and deserving of holding the office.
And I agree with that too, because it could be a third party that comes along that's going to be what we need.
I'm trying to understand this as like a narrative. Like, is Trump like, are you all widows and there's no way you'll find another guy like Trump? Or are you like, let's find the next guy and move on?
If we could find someone who had the backbone and the fight and would stand up without the rhetoric, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you're going to find that.
There is no perfection.
So I think we just have to pray and be patient and do what's right. And like you said, continue to fight for our party. But I don't think God wants us to live in fear and worry of what's going to happen, because we can't control it.
Are any of you relieved? Do you feel any kind of relief, like I said earlier? Like, oh, okay, well, now we got another boring president I can just ignore and I can go about my life. You know what I mean? Do any of you feel any relief, or is it...
No. Fear.
Fear.
More fear than
Fear.
No relief.
Well, I have relief that it's over with. That all this, hoping that the rioting and all that will calm down and all this other. Well, I'm relieved about that part.
You can look at somebody and say, I'm going to believe what they say, or am I going to believe what they do? I did dismiss some of his bad behavior because he was doing good things.
I liked having a president who stood between the people and that swamp, the swampy, corrupt politicians, and that's on both sides. I'm not just saying that Democrats are corrupt. There's a lot of corrupt Republicans as well.
His behavior, his divisiveness, as I said, you didn't see it as a
Stumbling block?
deal breaker. Like you still want, he's the guy you want.
I thought he was trying to bring people together with the Constitution and the original intent of our country. I didn't see that in Trump. The left side with dividing people racially and economically, and I don't believe that I see that as very divisive. Pointing out and asking me to, well, I'm not going to say it on here, but Nancy Pelosi said it the other day, that I need to examine who I am every morning. and I'm a person. And you know what? I have every race and just about in the book in my family, from marriage, adoption, everything. And you know, they're my grandkids, they're my nieces, they're my nephews, they're my whatever. I don't care what race they are. I love them all.
You know, if you read his inaugural speech, I know it's wonderful. It was very uplifting. And his goals were to unite people. He was going to be a people president, but he was never given the chance because if you recall, there was talk about impeaching him even prior to the inauguration.
That's what I
So
said.
he was never given a chance.
You know, I was really surprised that there wasn't any attempt on Trump's life.
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
And that told me that God had his hand on him. But I'm saying, yes, we're never going to see that again. We're too far gone. I think his time, God put him there for 4 years. And I think his time was good and he helped us. But I think his time is done.